I want to discuss this afternoon three topics, and the first thing I have to discuss is finding my glasses because I can't read the screen here. So I'll put my glasses on. Okay, service preparation technology. This is Mike Ariano's $5 term for video logging, and we're going to go through that. Next thing we're going to talk about is spray applied seal coats, and then just a quick update on what different districts are doing with ultra thin overlays. This is hot mix overlays that are getting placed at 1/2 inch thickness. Let me just give you a heads up of what's going on around the state. As far as the Mike, this is your stuff. Instead for the video logging, what we're interested here is when you guys are setting up overlay projects, you have to do upfront repairs. What's the best way of making estimates of the upfront repairs that you need to do? And it's the technologies that we're going to be talking about. We've got ground penetrating radar, but that's a little bit fancy. What we're going to be talking about is a fairly simple system, which is a high definition video logging system. This is the unit we're going to be talking about here, and it consists of there's a little camera stuck on the top here. There's a GPS on that. Inside of the car here, you've got a laptop computer, and the main thing you have is some specialized data acquisition and processing. This was never part of a TechStart project, but we always collect this fancy video, and folks like Mike says, man, I can make use of that video if there's a way to get a hold of it and do things with it. So that's the unit that we have, and it's like I say, it's fairly simple. What you get out of it is if you're driving down Interstate 35 in the main lanes 35, and this is a section that you're planning for some kind of overlay, you can see that you've got an area here what needs to get fixed. And I tell you, these high definition cameras are getting better and better every year. We're talking about a system for less than $1,000. The camera here is less than $1,000, and you can get some beautiful, really good high definition images from these things. If you guys are driving over projects any rate, why don't you just drive over the projects and get the video images too at the same time? And so what you do with this software is okay, there's a problem area, I need to fix that problem area, and it actually gives you a GPS coordinates up there. It'll give you a reference marker. You can actually then highlight an area. That's the area I think we just need to dig out and patch. It actually puts a little mark, a little hoodie down there at the bottom. This is the whole project. All these little marks are areas that need to be fixed in one of the 3 lanes. And then it creates a table for you. The latest version of this is another project I've been running. This is the same video. This one we're actually collecting radar at the same time, but you can see this kind of section here. This is a project we did as a forensic project. This is the whole project along the bottom here. These different color marks mean we're recommending different repair strategies in those areas. But again, it's just, you're driving over these projects. Heck, why don't we just get this video at the same time? And you can always come back to the office and look at the final recommendations from these videos. Once you've been through this, you then create a file which you dump into Excel, and it's got information like the reference marker here, the length of it, the width of it, the area, and what you plan to do in those particular areas. Again, we've been working with a couple of districts. One of the districts has got 3 or 4 of these units, and we're going to go out to the different sections and put on like little half-day training and see if we can get people's interest in using these systems. Second area, and I've heard this several times, this is the thin servicings, the spray applied seal coats. This is where we're putting this kind of application rates, and this is a seal coat material with sand and grit in there, fast setting emulsion, and this is the the operation this is the system in operation here. And we've heard a lot of districts going around the districts. Some of the urban districts definitely are looking at this kind of thing. Can we use this treatment for restriping when we're in construction and we're changing lanes and we want to block out that thing? I know that's a big issue with a lot of the construction projects. Costs, I don't know if anybody's got any updated cost information, but what we're looking at there is somewhere between $1.50 to $2 a square yard on this thing. We haven't particularly looked at these things in the research side of work, but you definitely get a higher skid resistance over a fog seal. The microtexture is not changed too much, but we're really not sure about what kind of life you get out of these. There has been a request to get a project started where we can put these things down in different environments, maybe on approaches to lights, in turning areas, and see what kind of life we get out of these guys. So it's a very practical maintenance type of activity there. The last thing I couldn't leave without talking a little bit about thin overlays, and what we're talking about in the maintenance side of things is this last one over here, which is this thing called the Tom F. That's named after Tom Freeman, or maybe Tom Flowers or somebody. There's too many Tom F's floating around here. All right, it's Tom Freeman today for 20 bucks. We've had these things around, and what we're working with these things is they all have to pass the stringent performance tests, which is the Hamburg and overlay tester. And we're normally working with a PG 76-22. These things will cost you more money than your traditional mixers. Okay? I've got a. Is that the? How much is that? 5 minutes left. Okay. Let me just show you quickly what's happening with these things and what different districts are doing. We started with 2 applications. The first one is in the Austin district. That's on Hamilton Pool Road. Tommy, that one's still doing pretty good, is it? Tommy Blackmore's was involved with the construction. That was put down it's supposed to be 1/2 inch. It was somewhere between a 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. Brownwood also put a big one down about the same time on US 84. The Brownwood application was about 10 miles long, and that was coming out of Goldthwaite on US 84. And the person that's been doing a lot of work is in the Atlanta district. That's Miles Garrison. And he's been looking at some very innovative applications here. This was the one in a small town, a tourist track there, in a town called Jefferson. And they paved, folks that know Jefferson, they paved the main. I got into trouble with Michael Lee when I called this an urban section. Michael told me that Jefferson's not an urban section. What Miles has been doing on the innovative side is using this stuff on the inside lane of the interstate. In the travel lane there, they've been milling off 1.5 inches and putting 2 inches of SMA. And in the travel lane, they've been putting a 1/2 inch of this Tom F in. And Miles tells me he's got all of 1 county done in the Atlanta district doing it this way. And the old goal is to save money. The travel lane is beaten up. The inside lanes are usually in better condition. So do you need to mill 2 inches all the way across? I just give a quick pitch for a project that we just finished. This was a research project, 5598, and I worked with Cindy and Tommy, Cindy Stackery and Tommy Blackmore on this thing, where we went to 3 districts that have never used the thin overlays before. 2 of these districts, the Paris district and the Houston district, put down some of this Tom F for the first time just this year. So we actually sweetened the pot a little bit, and we give them $40,000. Paris took every $40,000 thing we could give them. Houston said, $40,000? I'm not even switching my hot mix plant on for $40,000. But at any rate, just to give you, just to wrap up, as far as helping the districts with the first application, this is a job which was just finished probably no more than 3 or 4 weeks ago. This is on FM 2920, right through the middle of Tomball. And they put this Tom F down as a 3/4 inch mat. This mix I think was one of those mixes which is 3 millimeters in the Hamburg. and 1,000 cycles in the overlay test. So it's a very good mix. It's down now. It's really tough. Not a lot of trucks, but a lot of turning movements, a lot of driveways, and a lot of block cracking from existing CTB. The other project that we worked on was even more challenging. This one was actually up in the Paris district. This was done with a maintenance contract, and it was on State Highway 11. And they actually put this one down just to hold the section. The section was in bad shape. They didn't know what kind of life to get out of it, but they had to do something with it. So they actually went ahead and put 2 lifts of this stuff down in places. In some places it went down 1.5 inches thick. In other places it went down there. This project was actually finished probably about a year ago, and it was actually given the Tech Sapper Award, this project, for one of these successful projects. So anyway, that's the 3 areas: the video logging, the spray seals, and the ultra thin overlays. And so if you have any questions.
Howard, you have one? Yeah, I was going to ask you about right before you got to the thin overlay of time mixes and DFCs, you mentioned a product that you put down. I think it's 2 applications about, I don't know, go back.
Spray seal?
Spray seal, yes. What is the service life? Do you have any guess at the service life on that? I understand that the city and county maybe have used it here in Brazos Valley.
Yeah, we went, you know, yeah, how long do these things last is the basic question. And that's my last slide. We don't know, because I don't think we've ever had a project on this. You know, if you work with TTI, they give us a project, we're going to monitor these things, we go back a year later, 2 years later, see how we do. We went out to a section right down by the head football coach's house down there, and where's Alan? Is Alan longer here? No, he was the county engineer was here. I know he put it down. I just don't know how it's performing. No, we've never done any long-term monitoring of these things, so we don't know. I don't know that some of the districts have done it. The Austin district has put a couple of these sections down. Have you any idea? 1 year later, are they still good? We don't know.
At least 1 year.
Yeah, they've got a section which is 1 year down in Austin. It looks good, but you know, again, if it comes to turning movements and if it comes to stopping and braking, accelerating, how are they going to hold up? We did a little bit of work. We were worried about the braking actions in the lab, but we really have not done any monitoring of these things.